Hey everybody, coming to you from an undisclosed location known as the outside of my house. I'm just back from my bike ride. It is Tuesday the 14th as I record this. And I wanted to talk to you about something I was thinking about, not on this bike ride, but on a bike ride that I had over the course of the weekend. And I want to be clear that this is not actually supposed to be Greg Talks Bike Rides. This is a short series called Greg Talks Writing. It's just a lot of times when I'm on these bike rides, something comes to me that I think will be useful to talk about on this series. And that's what it was this weekend. Because I want to talk a little bit about taking a risk. This weekend, my family and I went up to Vermont to do a biking trip. The kids are getting a little more into biking. My wife just got a new bike, and I was like, let's do this. We want to give this a shot. So we loaded the bikes onto the bike rack, which barely held all the way up. Maybe another series I'll talk about how I have to get a new bike rack. But we got up there and we were able to do 3 different bike rides when we were up there over the course of the weekend. The one that really stood out to me was the one that we did yesterday on the way back when we were driving down from Vermont. There was a nor'easter. Those of you who live in New England, the United States might know this. There was a nor'easter that was coming up the eastern coast, and by the time it got to New England, it was still pretty windy and gusty and rainy and all that sort of stuff. A couple months from now, we'd be talking about a blizzard instead of just a big rainstorm. But on the way back, it was starting to rain, and so we stopped and thought that we had gotten there early enough that we could probably get a ride in, and then it might be fun to do it in this sort of environment. Now, my wife and I were aware that this was a little risky. It wasn't a lot risky. There wasn't any bodily damage or danger to our kids or ourselves, but we knew there was a risk that we were going to get pretty wet and that it was going to be kind of it might be a difficult ride for part of it, but we decided to take the risk anyway. The kids were into it, and that's exactly what happened. We bicycled it was near Northampton. We bicycled into Northampton, Massachusetts, and then I took my bike and bicycled all the way back to get the car to pick them up, because by that point the kids were like, oh, and the rain was really coming down at that point. Now, the thing about it is, as I was biking back, what I was thinking about was, yes, was this a little bit risky? Yes. Was this something that we knew we might get wet and cold? Yes. And that is, in fact, what happened. But it was also a really powerful memory for us. We really had a good time. It was a lot of fun. And that's something I want to talk about in your writing as well. Because I think there are risks sometimes to believing that you have to do something in the exact same way that you've always done it. And if you don't do it that way, your writing in some way is going to fail, whatever that means for you. You're not going to get it published. People who read it are not going to give it good feedback. You're not going to be happy with it. Whatever the message or definition of failure is for you, that's the case. But in reality, when we do nothing but stay familiar and do the same things we've always done, that's when in the long term we tend to feel like we failed, because we haven't progressed and we haven't made any change. Risk allows us to push against the boundaries of what we know and do something different. I want to encourage you to take a risk, even if it means you might get a little wet and cold.